Hey guys, so something I try to do every year is my annual Oscar series, wherein I take a look at all the nominees of each category except for the short film categories because I just, don't really know how to watch the short films. And then I rank all the nominees according to which film I think deserves to win the Oscar, and then I make a final prediction as to which movie I think will win the Oscar. Unfortunately, I wasn't really able to do this last year because I had to focus on my studies. However, before this year's Oscar nominations are announced at the end of January, I wanted to go back to the 2016 Oscars because just so many good movies came out in 2015, and I just was so invested in that particular Oscar ceremony, the 88th Academy Awards. So I'm gonna be treating the next 20 videos in this series as something like a little practice round before this year's Oscar nominations are announced. And I already made a video about Best Visual Effects way back then, so I'm gonna continue where I left off with Best Makeup and Hairstyling. So the nominees are The 100-Year-Old Man Who Climbed Out the Window and Disappeared, Love Larson and Eva Von Barr; Mad Max Fury Road, Leslie Vanderwalt, Elka Wardiga, and Damian Martin; and The Revenant, Cian Grigg, Duncan Jarman, and Robert Pandini. Once again, I'm pretty disappointed that the Best Makeup and Hairstyling category only has 3 nominees. I really wish they would expand it because every other category has at least 5 nominees. And, there are just so many films with great makeup that get overlooked in my opinion, especially horror movies, genre films, but these are the 3 we have, and it's kind of a weird list. So let's move on to who I think should have won the Oscar. And at third place, I'm gonna put the sore thumb here, but The 100-Year-Old Man Who Climbed Out the Window and Disappeared. This is a really weird nominee because it's a film that I don't think anybody really has seen, and I highly doubt a lot of the Academy actually saw it. Although, to be fair, as a nominee, it does have admittedly great makeup on its lead actor, Robert Gustafsson, who's only 52 years old, but the makeup really did make him look 100 in this movie. The issue here, the reason why it's at number 3, is because the rest of the makeup in the movie doesn't really do a fantastic job at reviving some of these dead historical characters back to life, because the plot of The 100-Year-Old Man is pretty much a Swedish version of Forrest Gump. It's about this dude who stumbles throughout history and affects the lives of all these relevant people in history. So you get to see Albert Einstein and whatnot, but when you see them on screen, they just don't feel real. They look like cosplay, which I think is a great explanation for why Forrest Gump had to use visual effects instead. They had TV footage of Ronald Reagan, I believe. Well, I'm not sure, but yeah, Forrest Gump in these different time periods, and they just spliced the imagery together. That really worked. It was believable. But here, it's clear that makeup just does not quite do that as effectively. It also had no chance of winning anyway because it's such a small film with no other recognition in this Oscars, whereas the other 2 nominees had a ton of other nominations. So at second place, I'm going to put The Revenant. The Revenant is just a visual masterpiece, and the makeup and the prosthetics they used here were not just super believable, but they were, in my opinion, essential to the storytelling. Just seeing the wounds that Leo's character sustains throughout the film, you really get a physical reaction out of seeing how the bear has mauled his back, and the wounds in his throat that he has to cauterize with gunpowder. And that physical reaction admittedly might be more because of Leo's performance, but it really does show just how much effort the makeup artists put into all these different effects. In my opinion, it does amplify his performance, it amplifies his character, it shows that there is a great relationship between good makeup and a good performance. Finally, at number 1, I'm going to put Mad Max Fury Road. This is the only film among the nominees here that really crafts a world, I think, through its visuals and through its makeup and hairstyling. Just the different looks in this movie say so much about the world wherein Mad Max is set. The white face paint on the war boys, the black streak across Furiosa's forehead, all these different gore effects say so much about the nature of the film, just how violent the place is. And from seeing the War Boys, from seeing Furiosa, you get a sense of history with the characters. And even when I watched Mad Max Fury Road for the very first time, I thought immediately people are going to cosplay as these characters because they just look so cool, you know, and the makeup really brings that out in them. And what I love about the makeup here is that it carries a function in the story. You know, the war boys are painted white for a reason, they spray chrome paint into their mouths for a reason, so it kind of makes the makeup interactive, and I think that gives it the edge over the other two films. And of course, Mad Max Fury Road eventually won the Oscar, but my official prediction was actually The Revenant. I thought the Oscars were going to give this to The Revenant because I thought the Academy would prefer the more realistic and gritty style of the makeup in The Revenant. Also, Leo likes to mention his makeup artists when he does his acceptance speeches, so I thought that him shining a spotlight on them would have made them more popular in the eyes of the Academy, but it obviously didn't work out that way. So yeah, those are my thoughts about the category of Best Makeup and Hairstyling from last year. What did you guys think about the nominees? Who did you think should have won? Who do you think was going to win? Whatever you guys thought, whether you agree with me or not, please leave me a comment. Let's have a conversation.